Let's dive into the conclusion of Black Ops Cold War Zombies with the upcoming launch of Forsaken, our newest round-based zombies map. We're joined by members of the Zombies crew today to tell us everything we need to know about the climax of Cold War Zombies and hint at what's next. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, John.
Hey,
Hi,
how's it going,
John.
John?
Craig, let's kick it to you. Let's get into Season 6 narrative. What do we need to know? Go.
Season 5 was one of my favorites because I think the thing that's probably excited the community the most is learning a little bit more about our mysterious Requiem director and hearing some of the, shall I say, slightly traumatic experiences that he's put poor Maxis through. And all of this, as people have been speculating, is really about helping Maxis unlock her Dark Ether powers. So throughout Black Ops Cold War Zombies, we've really been dealing with a new frontier in the Cold War, and we have Omega and Requiem, who are both fighting over resources and trying to understand exactly what the power of the Dark Ether could mean. Particularly recently, we've learned a little bit more about several characters. Zykov, who's sometimes referred to as the Lost Russian, who was the poor guy we saw in the original intro cinematic going into the cyclotron at Project End Station to try and seal the whole thing up. He's been there for a very long time, but also we have dealt with Omega and Requiem's plans and responses to a being known as the Forsaken. And as we move into Season 6 and our map Forsaken, we're going to learn a lot more about him, and we're going to learn a lot more about Requiem and Omega's plans for him.
Forsaken takes place in a training facility that's been repurposed for Dark Aether research. The setup of the map itself is basically a loop, but as you move through the loop, you'll get your classic splitting paths. In certain sections, we've set it up so that players will kind of expand the space as they move through it. In addition to the doors that you'll expect to see in a zombies map, we've added teleporters, and the teleporters serve as the main connections between the spaces. I'm really a fan of this map. The type of storytelling that is in there just based on what it is really interesting, and I think that we've put the area to good use.
Well, that's where the story takes us. Let's dive into gameplay. Kevin, if you want to maybe kick things off, we got a number of things to cover. Season 6 is pretty rich in terms of gameplay features, but maybe you kick things off with the new perk.
Yeah, let's start off with PhD Slider. It's going to be one of my favorites. I think people are really going to enjoy it. At its heart, it's going to persistently just give you the ability to slide into zombies and make explosions. But as you upgrade it, you get all sorts of abilities. Explosive immunity is a huge one. That's going to really change up how people play in the late game. You'll have the ability to slide through environmental hazards and not take damage. At the tier 5 ability, it gives you that original flopper ability where you can fall from a great distance and trigger an explosion as well.
Who would like to talk a little bit about the new perk machine?
It's got that original flopper feel, but it's been improved to have this kind of awesome little visual indicator on it. I'm excited for people to see it. And we also have the death perception machine in this level as well, which I'm really happy about because death perception's jingle, I think, is actually my favorite.
Players will be able to expect a new wonder weapon in Season 6. What's in store?
The Chrysalax is a really fun wonder weapon. Throughout the game's history, we've always done science-based wonder weapons, and we've also had more kind of mystical wonder weapons, and this one definitely falls into the latter category. Built out of Dark Ether crystals and some other elements, this is a very mysterious weapon from the Dark Ether itself.
It's really versatile. It has the melee mode, which is called the Chrysalax Savager, and that thing can just like mow through entire swaths of zombies. It also has the ability to throw an energy blade, and then you can keep it spinning in the air, and it'll just take out anything that touches it. With the touch of a button, you can switch it to the submachine gun mode, and it fires out these energy bullets. And they have a chance to cause a normal zombie to turn into a crystal bomb, and that thing will just detonate and take out a whole group. The other interesting thing is that it has a very symbiotic relationship between the modes. So using one mode will produce ammunition for the other mode.
Mark, it sounds like the Crystal Axe isn't the only weapon that players can expect this season. Sounds like there are a few more in the mix.
Yeah, we've got a couple of new support weapons this time around. The first one is the Arc XT. This thing is basically like RCXD, but it's got a crystal on the back that pulses damage periodically.
It functions as a monkey bomb strapped to the back of an RC car. So, you're driving this thing around the map, zombies are following you, the pulse is throwing them off. You're, through skill trying to maneuver through them and keep the thing as alive as long as you want. It's just an awesome tool in the toolbox for the players. I love that thing.
So the hand cannon is coming as a support to zombies. And staying true to its high caliber nature, its role within the mode is going to be all about being super effective against specials and elites. So while it has limited fire and higher skill to line up those shots, those shots are going to deal massive damage to both the specials and bosses and elites.
Kevin, if you could, catch us up on the challenges and the new intel that's in store for this season.
With Season 6, we're bringing a ton of new challenges to the mode, between a new set devoted specifically to Forsaken, and exploring and completing those quests, along with the new Dark Ops challenge. We're also going to be bringing Season 6 seasonal challenges, which will focus on Forsaken and a lot of the different game mechanics that we're bringing to the mode, as well as additions to Outbreak from last season, things like the Black Chest event or sea vehicle kills and things of that nature.
So throughout Black Ops Cold War Zombies, we've had a lot of focus on the intel, and that's allowed us to do a huge number of radios and audio logs. I'm not even sure of the exact number. I think it's well over 500 pieces of intel are going to be out there by the end of Season 6. When we get to the end of Season 6 and people kind of realize how all of these character stories culminate, I think they're going to look back on it very fondly.
Craig, if you could elaborate a little bit more on sort of Outbreak and the impact that has had on the zombies experience over the course of the year.
When it comes to Outbreak, I think I've said in many of our previous broadcasts, I'm not the best zombies player, and Outbreak was actually huge for me because you can kind of take it at your own pace and you have a little bit more control over some of the things that you want to do. So I think Outbreak has really opened zombies up to a new audience, perhaps an audience that were more familiar with multiplayer or maybe even campaign, because zombies can be pretty hardcore and zombies can be pretty intimidating. So, because I think Outbreak is something really fresh that we're extremely proud of, and hats off to the whole team for making it work.
From the get-go of this game, we set out to really build it from the grounds up as a systems-driven mode. Round-based is already such a fantastic mode. We want to preserve that, but we also wanted to explore new ways to engage with zombies. And Outbreak was an answer to that. And Onslaught was another way of looking at that, where we said, can we put zombies in multiplayer maps? And is that fun? And there was a really awesome reception from the community. So I'm just very proud of the team for getting that stuff in a place where we can do these kind of things.
We'll start with you. A question I'll sort of toss around to the group. What are you most excited for players to experience in Forsaken?
Two things. So I think this map has just so much personality. It was kind of a designer's dream to come into this place and come up with fun little side Easter eggs. So you're going to find a lot of those nestled within it. The other thing I'm really excited about is our last elite enemy, the Abomination, which is this just massive three-headed giant that is super strong and scary. It has projectile laser attacks. It can charge at you. It's just this really fierce thing, and when it enters the space, it starts to alter how you think and engage with the enemies and it.
Anthony, let me kick it to you. What are you most excited for players to experience this season?
I'm really excited for people to just experience the space. One of the things that I find interesting about this map is that this space has been chosen purposefully. It's almost the place where the veil between the dark aether and our world is the thinnest. And this is where they've figured out that for the goal for this map, what their plan that they want to achieve can be done here. So you'll see that as you play. I think it'll be a great effect. I think players will really get into it and really feel that mood.
When you come into Forsaken, it's not like any of the other maps. It's got chaos just streaming out of the portal. And the first thing you'll see is that rounds won't be held up by a zombie being alive, and you'll have to deal with that until you can get further into the facility. So it also offers this extra challenge for people who want to stay there and see how long they can survive. It builds up really quickly.
Craig, let me switch things up a little differently for you. Taking a look at previous seasons, what are you most proud of?
I'm really proud of the fact that in Forsaken, we kind of bring a lot of characters' story arcs and emotional arcs to a conclusion. You know, we used to have that song in Mob of the Dead, Where Are We Going? I've kind of always known where this was going, and it's been quite an emotional ride. And I believe that at the end of Forsaken, when people complete the main quest, they're going to be very satisfied with what our characters have done and achieved, but also interested for the future. And when I speak of the future, the immediate future, actually, and I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about it, but we obviously have Vanguard coming up very shortly, which is going to also deal with the Dark Ether story. While Cold War dealt very much with the Nazis' science experiments, Vanguard Zombies is going to be delving into their occult experiments. Ooh, spooky.
And that is probably a good place to end it today. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for having us.